Joining us on the phone is a legend in the acting business. We are talking to Mr. Stacy Keach. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. Good morning to you and your listeners.
It's so fantastic to talk to you. You have been acting.
Thank you.
I mean, how many years have you been acting?
When you mention the word legend, it makes me feel very old. I guess I've been acting pretty much all my life. I mean, I started when I was in junior high school. Well, actually in grammar school. But I mean, yeah, professionally I've been acting since the early 60s.
Well, you've got
a lot of years.
Yes, a great career. And the most recent film that we're talking about here is Planes from Disney.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit. You play Skipper in the film. Tell us a little bit about the movie and about Skipper.
Well, it's a movie about Dusty Crophopper, brilliantly played by Dane Cook, who becomes my student in a way, or in a way like my son. Skipper is like a father figure, a coach, a parent, and he trains Dusty to overcome his fear of heights and win a race around the world.
Oh.
Do what is necessary to, So it's about overcoming fears and dealing with reality and doing whatever is necessary to be a winner.
That's great.
Disciplines that are necessary.
It's great.
Responsibilities.
Yeah, a great lesson for children, of course, and for the whole family.
I think so.
Yeah, and
it is for the whole family. They're wonderful characters in Planes. Beautifully voiced by great actors, and Brad Garrett and Cedric the Entertainer and John Cleese and Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Terry Hatcher, and I could go Sinbad, Val Kilmer, Anthony Edwards. I could go on and on. There's just a great group of actors.
And so many.
And everybody has their own individual, unique personality, and there's a lot of humor in it.
I can
Skipper
imagine.
is not. There's not much humor with Skipper. He's more or less the heart. He's on the heart side rather than the humor side.
Well, that's good. I wanted to say, for a lot of these actors, when I interview actors from these voiceover films, I like to ask, how they compare doing a voiceover to the traditional acting roles they take. But for you, a voiceover is nothing new. I mean, you're a voice of everything.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's nothing new. You're right. And right now, I'm doing American Greed on CNBC, which is a wonderful show. For those of you who haven't seen it, we're on Thursday nights, and I love doing it. I did a lot of documentaries in my earlier days, and did lots of novas, and for me, it's a great way. It's a great education. I mean, you get a chance to not only witness the wonderful work that documentarians do, going wherever they go, and I started out when I was a young kid. My dad had a radio show called Tales of the Texas Rangers, and I would go down, I was about 12 years old, and watch these actors performing these radio stories in front of a live, in front of it wasn't live, but in front of a microphone. Mm-hmm. And it just stimulated my imagination, and they did all the effects there at the same time. It's a great. I think voice acting is in many ways a way of it's another way into the whole world of acting. That a lot of what something sounds like is almost as important as what something looks like.
Yeah, definitely. And one other thing I wanted to ask about is the film coming up, Nebraska. That was big news for us here in Billings because they filmed a lot of it right here in Billings. The scenes with Will Forte.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I saw it's such a great movie. And Alexander Payne, Bruce Dern, Will Forte, June Squibb. They're just Bob Odenkirk. Great. It's going to be out November 22nd.
That's awesome. And
November 22nd.
Did you get the opportunity to shoot any of the stuff in Montana, or were all your scenes outside of here?
I wish I had. No, the last time I was in Montana shooting was a movie way back in the 70s called The Killer Inside Me. We shot it in Butte, outside of Butte.
Butte is a fun city. A lot of partying up there in Butte, America.
Yeah. Well, I love Montana. It's a great state.
Yes.
You guys have a great thing.
As do we.
Beautiful.
Something interesting I saw while I was doing research on you is that you were born with a cleft lip and palate, which my producer here was as well. And
hats off to male or female?
Male.
male, and I had a question.
Brother, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you recommend people to grow mustaches to hide their scars?
I think it depends. I think it depends on the circumstances. During the course of my career, I've worn mustaches and I've not worn mustaches. In fact, I had an experience once doing an ill-fated series called Carib, a Quinn Martin show, where I didn't wear a mustache and the ratings were bad, and they said, put the mustache on. And I had to wear a false mustache down in the Florida Everglades. It was continually falling off because of the humidity. I think it depends. I think, it's not a good idea to hide. I don't think it's hide. If it's something to do to look, a certain look that you want to establish, as I did with Mike Hammer, for example.
Well, sure. I'd love to look like you.
With the mustache.
Yes, exactly like you. If I could mold my entire being into you, I would.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's very good.
He's a gentleman.
But I don't know about that. What? Sorry?
I said he's a gentleman. He wants to look just like Stacy Keach, and you look like a dignified gentleman.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Somebody on our text line here, Mr. Keach, just said, "I love you, Stacy Keach. You'll always be Sergeant Stedco to me."
Stedinko, yeah, Cheech and Chong.
Cheech and Chong is
I know.
classic.
I get that a lot of people. Yeah, Sergeant. The Sarge is one of my favorite characters. I had a great time playing the Sarge.
Do you just keep in touch with Cheech?
I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting the Sarge. Is an older, stony dude, that's still trying to bust these guys.
That would be fun. No Cheech and Chong upcoming, though. But Sin City 2 is upcoming. Is that something you're excited for?
Oh, very excited. But that's not until next year. But what I'm more excited about is I wrote a memoir, an autobiography, and that'll be coming out October 15th, called All in All.
And this is just the whole story of your life?
Pretty much, yeah. It's an autobiography.
I mean, that's got to be so many stories. I mean, you started, like you said, so many years ago.
A lot of stories.
And you've done so much.
A lot of stories.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some of
There's a lot, yeah.
Aside from acting, obviously, and all the roles and the people you've worked with, what are some of the things you have most pride in your life that you've accomplished?
Well, my family is my most prideful thing, but music. Not many people know this, and I've been doing a little more of it publicly. But I'm a keyboard guy, and I compose, and I've written a couple of things. In fact, there's a theme song for American Greed called "Anything for Money" that I wrote, and you can check it out on my website or the CNBC website.
Very nice. Well, I love American
music.
Greed.
A lot of music these days. A lot of music.
That's great. Well, American Greed, we can check out Thursday nights on CNBC. I love that show. I love documentaries. And also, for anybody that loves just a good, wholesome, fun movie, you can take the whole family to Planes in theaters this weekend. Opens this Friday. Very good film. Great actors a part of this. And, of course, the legendary Mr. Stacy Keach playing the teacher of young Dusty, trying to Skipper. Yes, Skipper, who's the mentor. You're very welcome, Mr. Keach. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.